On global warming, Trump just gave out some sound. Do we have it that we can play about what Trump's saying about global warming? Let me play this for you for context.
Sure.
I'm still open-minded. Nobody really knows. Look, I'm somebody that gets it. And nobody really knows. It's not something that's so hard and fast. I do know this. Other countries are eating our lunch.
And again, it's like there are two different conversations being having. You have the overwhelming consensus of the scientific community will say you do not get it, to use the president-elect's words, if you think that there is an open question as to whether or not man's actions have an influence on global warming. How much, what to do about it, are our policies good enough for us, are they too advantageous to other countries? Separate consideration. Do you believe that it is an open question as to whether or not man's actions are influencing global warming?
Well, what I'll tell you, Chris, is I think that the climate is changing, and it has always changed. And we thought back in the 70s, these same kind of folks were saying that we had the next ice age that was upon us coming in the 70s. Now, we see here the Earth is getting warmer. What I think is important when you look at this, and I live in Wisconsin. I live here, Chris, because I love the outdoors. I love to swim and kayak and ski and hike. And if you don't have clean air and clean water, you can't do any of those things. It's important to me, and it's important to my constituents. I have the largest Great Lake in my district, Lake Superior. But I think it's important that we say, what are the smart policies that can help us reduce our carbon emissions,
right,
but also make America competitive? Because if you're driving up the cost of energy and electricity in states like mine, I have poor people, they can't afford their electric bills. They can't afford to put food on their table. And so they want us to have a smart policy moving forward.
I get you, but again,
to make sure we're clean and we're responsible.
These are two separate things. Like I said the other day talking to Marsha Blackburn, can you be pro-clean water and clean air if you don't support the science of global warming? And the reason I said that is there's a continuum of thought. If you believe that the science is correct, and, you know, I'm not a scientist, you're not a scientist, if the scientific community has consensus on man's actions, I accept that science, then what are your smart policies? I don't know why you have to question the scientific consensus to want to question what the right policies are.
But, Chris, the flip side of that is you can say, listen, I believe in global warming. I believe it's man-made. I believe that America is the worst actor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the Rust Belt. I'm going to look at states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. And what I need to do is I need to put all of these blue-collar workers out of a job and make sure that the jobs they do have, they don't make enough money to pay their electrical bills and their gas bills. They can't pay for their food. And so what? Then we're going to have more government programs to help more people who can't provide for themselves. What I'm telling you, Chris, is that we need to have smart policies that are clean policies, but also are moving America along as we develop new technology, so you're not having energy costs skyrocket. And as you know, manufacturing in America uses a lot of energy. And if you can take reduced energy costs, making America more competitive, it means more jobs, but also the ability to pay better wages, which are all issues that we care about. But one of the problems with Democrats is they'll say, we want to increase rules, we want to increase regulation, we want to increase wages, we want to increase the cost of health care, and we want American business to be successful and stay in America. Well, something has to give. So how do we have a common sense approach to these policies that help the American worker, but also make sure we have a clean environment? And I think you can balance those two things really effectively. But if you push it too far, like what Barack Obama was doing, all of a sudden you're regulating on my farms in America that provide milk to so many Americans, mud puddles in the ditches of their fields.
I hear you.
They can't farm anymore. I hear you. And so what I talk about is balance and smart policies that can help both of those two things happen.
And let's not cheat the conversation. As these ideas come up and you have to make these decisions, let's keep having this conversation right here on New Day. As always, thank you very much, Congressman.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Have a good day.